And so, without further ado, spawning in the top position of the map, he is representing Alpha X. Give it up for ZOUN. And his opponent, hanging out here in the bottom as the Terror of Finland. Give it up for Cyril. And already ZOUN is going to be starting this series off right with a very aggressive cannon rush going right across the map. It looks like he's just going to throw it down in the natural base here. Not going to give any room for Cyril to think, oh, hey, this is a normal build. I should totally not overreact to this. No, he is wanting to force the biggest overreaction the world has ever seen. But it's not really going to work out that way, as we do see only one drone going to be pulled. And that's just there to make sure that nothing is going to be thrown down in this location. Behind it, we already do see Cyril as well, just kind of... it looked like he was getting ready to throw down the third base, which he does. Gets a cancel on the natural, which is nice. But I kind of like how ZOUN is not overreacting, or not really overcommitting, rather, to this push. He's not making a ton of cannons. He's just getting that gateway, and so he'll just try and contain Cyril for as long as humanly possible. Cyril, to his credit, you know, he has been mining this entire time, so he's not really in a bad spot. So let us see how much ZOUN can do. He's gonna get that first Zealot down. Keep in mind, I highly doubt he's gonna be able to expand behind this. He's almost completely walled off his main base. I don't know if that's actually a full wall or not, but yeah, here we go. The photon cannon in the front, just something for the Zealot to retreat to as the Roach Warren finishes. The Queen as well, just going to give a little bit of extra fire support. A couple of nice little pokes right there, and we do see him retreat. So now it's kind of just a little game of cat and mouse. The Queen being the cat, the Zealot being the really buff mouse. It's kind of like a Tom and Jerry mouse at this point. With the side blades, as we do have the Stalker going to be coming up. The Ravagers have not finished morphing. There they are to defend their Queen. But the Shield Battery going to finish up. That's going to help the Stalker stay alive for as long as possible. He wants to get the pickoffs as much as humanly possible, but some good pullbacks from Cyril, going to keep them alive. ZOUN, while he is starting to grow in terms of that unit count, I think the longer this goes on, the better it gets for Cyril, because he does have this base out here, which can be relatively untouched. And as those Ravagers just getting all of this damage done on those shield batteries, making it a little bit harder to justify staying. But you know what? Here we go. Cyril just going for the big kill. Gets a couple of really nice rapid fire connections off. And from here, I think ZOUN pretty much has to retreat. He's invested so much into this, however, I don't think there's going to be any semblance of a retreat as the last pylon falls, as the last Stalker goes down. I think that is definitely going to be it. And there you have it. GG is called. Short, sweet, and to the point. As we're going to be heading into our next game. This is from the StayAtHome Story Cup. So a lot of great games from there. If you haven't seen the replay pack, make sure you check out Trados' Twitter. Just a lot of awesome games, and that was merely one of them. As we have for the next time. Spawning up here in the top. Let's see if he does the same thing, or will he try and play it standard? Looks like the answer is standard for now. He is ZOUN. And his opponent down here, this guy's standard is pretty much just kicking your butt into a pulp. Representing the terror of Finland, he is SERRAL. Now looks like he's just going to be a little bit proactive here, getting that natural base down, or that third base down rather, relatively quickly. I don't disagree with that. A lot of the time what we've been seeing in both Europe and KR is just this denial of the natural for a long time by Protoss players, because they want to kind of slow down the economy of the Zerg opponent. So getting that third base up is a little bit harder to defend early on, but just the fact that you're not delaying your build order any makes it so much better. Cyril still doesn't have his natural down, however. I'm gonna kind of be interested to see when he does decide to throw that down. Looks like it's just not really delayed, just a little bit slightly later. And actually that drone is not even going to be making the natural just yet, waiting for the probe to leave before he does so. Now ZOUN kind of expects this. You know, this isn't really a huge surprise for him. But, you know, you don't want to see it. You don't want to see the Zerg player expanding down here, because this opens up the ability for the Zerg player to kind of get that creep spread throughout the left side of the map, which is a really nice angle to kind of backstab in. Stargate play is going to be the choice, and obviously one of the big things that Protoss players have been doing, especially on Death, or I think this is the most common map for it in general, is just going for the big flying meat wagons, the Void Ray. Cyril's no fool, by the way. Sorry about that. But, yeah, he's no fool. He sees the couple of adepts that are out, and knowing that there's those two adepts, maybe seeing the third one be rallied in, kind of just tells him that, yeah, this is Stargate play. Yeah, this is Void. Yeah, this is pretty much going to be Void Rays, as we do see the one going to be popping here to clean that up. And so he's not blindsided. He has the ability to kind of just drone up for a little bit longer before he really has to pump out a response. One response I've been loving to see is just kind of this aggressive push out with roaches, lings, trying to hit and kill your opponent before the Void Rays really get into big enough numbers to deflect. As we do see the second one coming on in. And yeah, I think that kind of parade push with the Queens is super duper important, for the only reason that once they get up to that critical mass of an air army, it's really, really difficult to kind of stop them. I think the win rate is like 60 to 70% with it, which, I mean, in the big leagues is huge. And from here, from here, the most important thing is that he gets the transition down smoothly. You know, he's not going to be getting too many Void Rays, only about 6. And from there, you just pump your gas into the Twilight Tech, the Templar Archive Storms. And yeah, that's exactly what he's got to do there. The Stasis Trap going to be going down somewhere. There you go, denying the 4th base. That is actually really lovely. Really good for him as he drops down the Hydralisk, drops down the Evo Chambers so he can pump out maybe 1 or 2 upgrades here and there. And yeah, I mean, from here, while he is kind of just being around the map with these small smatterings of lings, his big goal is to just buy himself a little bit of time to build up that Hydralisk count. Overlord going to be coming in. Not really anything different than what he's expecting. I kind of like this. The addition of the Disruptor, it's a little bit out of left field. So it might catch SERRAL pretty off guard with these Hydralisks, but basically the rest of Joan's army is just straight up there to kill the Hydras very, very quickly. SERRAL going to be going up to Hive here relatively soon as well, as Joan is still kind of powering up, so he's not really looking to attack anytime soon. He's just very happy to defend and let SERRAL kind of throw away units into his wall. So far, so good. No real indication as to who's ahead. Both players going to have their 4th base up, while SERRAL's going for a 5th. Spreading the creep as far forward as possible on Death Aura. It's a little bit harder to get that spread, just because, you know, obviously you do have these rocks right here. This angle is a little bit tricky to get through. Yeah, really quiet game. The buildup is almost complete. Getting the Vipers will be nice for some parasitic bombs. I think that's... like, even though, you know, the supply is a little bit deceiving here. Just the fact that even though SERRAL is up on 185 supply, a lot of that isn't just those lings, which can absolutely melt. He didn't get Storm, but it's just the Archons that is the biggest problem for him. Not to mention that carrier count is getting relatively high. And by relatively high, I mean he's getting 2 of them at a time. A big run-by going to catch the run-by of Joan. That is a really nice pick-off there. It will allow him to kind of stay a little bit safer. And, you know, just overall, everything's right in the world with this one. Cyril hasn't taken any damage. ZOUN hasn't taken any damage. Units lost tab. Yeah, that's the one worker kill this entire game. Now both players are maxed out, and that's really the indicator that ZOUN wants to attack. But he does get caught a little bit out of position here, as Cyril going to be moving in with his army. Might force a recall here. But one thing to note is that, yeah, I rest my case there, because what I was going to say is that the Hydralisks are pretty squishy, so the Zealots are pretty good versus them. As we do see ZOUN going to be moving out onto creep for the first time in a while. Shield battery overcharge, going to get a focused fire down. But we can kind of see he's trading out a lot of these Hydralisks to focus more on his air army of Corruptors. That's a lot of Vipers, and they've been building up energy for quite a long time. So I think, honestly, overall, Cyril does have the better army, although these Ultralisks are kind of useless, not really super useless. But they just don't really have a lot of utility versus what's going on here. But other than that, the Corruptor Broodlord army is going to be an absolute nightmare for ZOUN to deal with. As we do see the Ultras getting a little bit too far off creep, they will retreat in terms of upgrades. It is currently 2-2 to the 2 attack. And even going for shields as well, just so those Archons are a little bit more tanky. Oh no. Yeah, just kidding. They're frenzied units, so they don't actually die to that, as the cannons fighting valiantly. They are taking quite a bit of health off some of these Ultras, but eventually they will fall. The shield battery, while it was overcharged, is not enough. And ZOUN is going to make his way over here, looking to defend this base. He will be able to do so. The problem with this stage of the game is that neither side can really engage into the Spore Crawler wall. Cyril can't engage into it because it's his Spore Crawler wall. And ZOUN just doesn't really have the numbers in the air to do so. Ooh, big yoink right there. Getting one of those Void Rays as win behind Dark Shrine. I think this is more of a win ahead, or win there, make there. But the Broodlords have begun their siege, picking off the Tempest 2 by 2. Hurrah, hurrah. Really nice moves here. 15 workers going down into top as he's trading out these Ultralisks. He's already forced a pretty big commitment out of ZOUN as well. Getting so many Immortals isn't really going to do too much versus the army down here, and continuously losing the Tempests. Forcing the recall, he's just going to sacrifice this location. No, wait, he just recalled on top of that base. I think that was a mistake. Oh my goodness, the storms, however, going to be enough to push this back. But he loses all the High Templar. And so Cyril inching his way forward. He has pretty much cleaned up a lot of the supply here for ZOUN. He gets a kill on the base. Currently down to over 64 workers. Doing what he can with these Immortals since he knows they're pretty worthless versus what Cyril is going for. But they will get a base for their trouble, so that is always nice. Now, Joan has had a little bit of time to remax, but he's already lost 20 workers in the last couple of minutes. So, while this army, it looks intimidating, his biggest problem with it is that if he loses it, he doesn't really have anything to remake. Cyril, currently sitting on 3K, 4K, meaning that he can pretty much remake his entire army maybe twice. As we do see the cleanup here for the creep tumors, the spores are actually not in position up here. They're going to go really far back, so that's going to force the creep really in a bad situation. But every time Jotun moves out, Cyril is already right there with the counterattack. And 18 more workers. This is just absolutely devastating for Jotun. I think Cyril is just going to be able to slowly and surely crush through here. As you see, the DTs just trying to do what they can. They do get a decent amount of units, but at the end of the day, is Cyril really too worried about 7 drones? Maybe if he lost 7 more, but he's just replacing those with army. Looks like the fight of the Golden Armada is all on its way, though, as a Revelation going to go down, giving those Tempests the vision they need all over that Spore Crawler wall. And he did get the upgrade for it, so those Spore Crawlers are going to absolutely melt. Looks like a little bit of a expansion denial up here. Adrenal glands lings, just so powerful. Won't get to cancel ever. Looks like the Corruptors have found the army, but they aren't in high enough numbers. He needs the Adducts to get them one by one. As he's taken this location down here, that's going to be a hard spot for Jotun to break. Maybe send a couple of Lings or Zealots here and there to take care of that. Because you do need to stifle this economy a little bit more. Ooh, a good fungal on top of those High Templar. A couple of them will go down. They were very high energy right there, as the fungals have been pretty good. The Corruptors, though, getting the good pickups there in the carriers. And Joan, he's tossing away a lot of supply. He's getting rid of a lot of these infestors, though. The energy is gone. The Broodlords starting to fall, so if he can clean those out, he might be able to hold on. But it is super dicey, and it looks like it is not going to be enough. Cyril takes the game 2-0. And I think they did play all 3 games. Might be a little bit of a misclick there, but yeah, let's hit up these guys once again. as spawning up here in the top position, representing Alpha X. He is Joan. And his opponent down here in the bottom. Give it up for SERRAL. And now Joan does have that probe in a very, very early position, you might say. He is waiting for SERRAL to throw down the base so that he knows where he can attack into. And you know, so far SERRAL is just kind of trying to bait the probe around, make it look like, no, this is something else. It is indeed a spawning pool first, however, which does mean that Joan has to wall off. That is the most important thing for him right now, to make sure that he doesn't die to any sort of early game aggression, which, by the way, SERRAL is definitely going to do some early game aggression. So far, only 4 Lings, and so it's going to drone up quite heavily behind it as well. Definitely meaning that I guess this is a pretty good little feint. Kind of showing, oh, hey, I'm going to attack you and I'm going to try and kill you. Ha ha ha, just kidding. I'm going to drone up. I'm going to get up to 3 bases, and I'm going to absolutely crush you in an economy game. And just little things like that can really, really mess with your head. As we kind of say, Joan, he pulled a ton of workers down there to defend this small location. So now the Adepts, though, are going to be making their way across the map. They canceled their blink. So they will take the long way around, just taking their sweet, sweet time. Honestly, I don't even think that they want to make it there because they keep canceling. Now they're really far delayed, so there are enough Lings to defend. Yeah, just gets one big scout off and goes. Probably wants to go home soon. Alright, the third base going up for ZOUN. Now we do see a Roach Warren, and oh my goodness, there is a good possibility that we see a little bit of a Soul Strut coming in, but hold that thought, as we do see that Sentry gonna go down, expending its energy, trying to survive, but it and an Adept will fall. Oof, very close to the wall there. As we do see, the droning has stopped on roughly 34. Oh my goodness, this is a little bit of an all-in from our red Zerg friend here. Let's see if he can make it work. So far, he's getting amazing amounts of damage and just forcing the warp in of additional Adepts, killing off the shield battery might get a cancel on this Nexus. Not might, he will get a cancel right there, as it looks like ZOUN just a little bit too slow to kind of tech up. Oh my goodness, additional gateways just now going down. The Twilight Council, the upgrade's not there. Like, this is about as bad as it can get for ZOUN. He is stuck in his base. He is forced to force field in order to defend. That's pretty much all he has. Trying to bait out those force fields as well with the Lings. The army just barely inching its way forward. That's going to leave the wall open. Oh my goodness, just a game. Just seriously. A game of misdirection. Little feint attacks everywhere. They say that you can win a battle before even the first arrow flies. I know that's not the exact saying, but it's close enough. And these guys are definitely thinking about it like that. As here we go. They get the first surround. The Biles do get to clean that up. And it looks like SERRAL gets the full-on 3-0 in this. Oh, this was a best of 5. Excuse me. But, yeah, GG is called. SERRAL gets the clean sweep. So make sure you guys like, favorite, and subscribe if you want to see more of awesome content like this. And we will see you all at the next big event.